Name ist Leone Kaldenbach. Machen wir alles in Deutsch? Everybody, welcome to PugliaTechs Friends. This is the first and special edition, so thank you so much, BurdaForward, for hosting us again. We're really creating a friendship here. My name is Leone. I'm one of the PugliaTechs community builders. I want to just briefly go through what PugliaTechs is for the people who haven't known us yet, and then we're going to dive into tonight's program. So why was PugliaTechs founded by, well, some of the people here present? Because unfortunately still many talents leave the south of Italy. It's not so bad that they leave, but then they don't come back. And that's a shame. So we are really we try to build this ecosystem here so talented people, if they go and live their experience abroad, that they actually come back. So we are a community from the bottom up, grassroots. We basically are founded by tech enthusiasts, but we obviously also work together with and talk with entrepreneurs, corporations, and so on, and startup founders. So every time we try to embody all these different types of people in our events. We would like to become this new ecosystem or be a very important engine in that. So we organize online events and in live events like you are here. And we really believe that this territory has a lot of potential, so we want to be on the right side of this renaissance, of this technology push to drive regional innovation, obviously. How? Well, most of the people in the community or the founders already have an international experience. Most of our guests have international experience, so we have this global perspective, but we also have Puglia roots. We like to get Puglia on the global tech map and become a competitive region in the innovation ecosystem of Europe with obviously a global lookout. And we do that by empowering the local talents, so we have different headlines in the papers in a few years. Because we believe there's a unique creativity and resilience here not only in the territory, but also within the institutions, the universities, and the companies that have already been investing in this region. And so we are foresting the community's expertise on this side. We have been active for about 12 months, and well, you see, we're creating some traction, so motivating enough to go ahead. We are also more and more present online. We have our website. We are growing on LinkedIn. On Telegram, we're a bit stable at the moment, but we have some initiatives down the line to also create more engagement on Telegram. And obviously, we can't do it without corporates, so we work on creating more brand awareness. We want to facilitate recruitment so people can find each other, enable the access to innovative technologies, boost lead generation, and share product and engineering best practices. Really work together with the corporate networks. And one big step we have done in that is we have become, and we call it the third sector registry, so we're official, a party where you can basically do business with. So we're really making steps in becoming a more formal partner in this network. And we have quite an ambition to secure some slots to get sponsors and partners involved, so we can really make the right steps to make this community more aligned. Different people, different stakeholders, different exchange of needs and knowledge is what a community is and what we are constantly working on. Therefore, it helps if we know our people, so it helps if we meet people. We see it as an operating system, definitely a federated approach, so we work on all things together. Together we thrive. We want to work with the communities, the startups, and neighbors and corporates, the institutions and the investors, and most important thing that they have weak spots for Puglia, because we truly believe in the combination here in this region. So obviously, the more we know about the people that come here, the more we can adapt our contents and communication. So for who has not entered our community yet, please scan the QR code, and that brings you to the form that so you become a member of our community. We will not sell your data ever. We're a non-profit community, so don't be afraid of that. But it helps us to improve our performance. So that is very quickly my introduction. What is way more important are tonight's speakers. Fabio, who will also do a little official introduction. Francesco, from Personas, and then we have Alessio, all the way from Modena, from Instila. That's the core of our event tonight. For you guys, but also for the people that follow us online, you can fill in questions during the talks, and I will try to take out the best ones and ask a few questions to our speakers. So basically, that's the program for tonight. So thank you so far, and please, Fabio, it's for you.
Okay. So welcome everyone to BurdaForward. Well, we have some people from our German offices, because as you might know or not know, BurdaForward is part of the Hubert Burda Media family, meaning that we are a company that is located across several cities in Germany, with the headquarters being in Munich, but also in Italy, here in Bari. But this is just BurdaForward is not, is just a part, one of the companies, a part of the Hubert Burda Media Group, which has locations across the world. These are the main brands owned by BurdaForward. The most important one in terms of reach is Focus Online. Then we also have for people in Italy, it could be the equivalent of maybe newspapers like La Repubblica or Corriere della Sera, but the online version only. Then we have Chip, dedicated to technology, then Bunte, TV Spielfilm, and so on. So these are the brands. And actually, we have, across all those brands, we have 40 monthly unique users. This means that as Antonello said last time, so we can fill the San Nicola Stadium 690 times a month. So each month we make this amount of, we reach that amount of people in Germany. So these are some pictures of our Bari office and the collaboration that we have within BurdaForward. And this is me. So I'm a senior project manager, specifically in a video tech team. And I have a bachelor's degree in international communications, a first master's degree actually in development studies, but also I'm undergoing a second master's degree in artificial intelligence and data analysis for communications and digital marketing. So I worked and lived across several countries in Europe, but came back in 2014 actually, after living in England for a while. And I'm working at BurdaForward since 2020. So the talk the speech I'm going to hold tonight is GEO or SEO. This is the title. Is AI revolutionizing digital marketing? With a question mark. Because we have lots of talking and hypothesis, and maybe also rumors about this new way of optimizing content for AI tools. But my question was, is this actually a revolution or maybe more of an evolution? So let's find it out together. So the impact of AI. So the AI is actually the AI and LLMs, so large language models, are changing and having an impact on digital marketing strategy, because traditional SEO is not dead, actually, but there are some evolutions, and we need to adapt with innovative strategies. And we need to adapt that just to make the most out of these new technologies for optimizing visibility, as written here, and audience engagement. So yeah, because the search is actually shifting and changing. So we are used coming from the past, we are used to traditional search, meaning like what we normally experienced on Google search, meaning that we had results according to the keywords that we entered as a search. Nowadays, this is changing because the AI is actually shifting to a different model. So to a model where the user intent is much more important than the keyword optimization. So this comes from SEMrush. So one of the tools that you can use to keyword analysis and so on. So this is the evolution according to their study of the traditional organic search, which is going to decline in the next few years, and then the LLMs search that is rising. Actually, this week has been very interesting because we had the launch of the new ChatGPT Atlas, so the new browser by ChatGPT. And actually, over the last few weeks, also the Google AI mode was launched in Europe, including Italy. And there was the beginning of this new conversational browser by Perplexity, which is called Comet. We will have a look at both Comet and Atlas later to see, because for me it was interesting also to see how it really changes the way the search results are shown and how the information is organized, structured, and provided to the user. But the good news is LLM visitor, according always to the same study, can, so their value can be up to 4.4 times higher. Why? Compared to traditional search, obviously. Why? Because the AI search visitors tend to convert because LLMs can equip users with all the information they need to make a decision. So the search is much more specific, the answer is much more specific, so the engagement rate can be much higher because the information provided is also much more useful to the user. So maybe the balance between the traffic and the value of the traffic is changing, and we can make the most out of that. So, while defining new concepts, so we have several new acronyms like AIO, LLMO, GEO, so plenty of things. But the idea is that the traditional SEO is also evolving into optimizing the content, for example, or the structure that we have of the content itself, to actually adapt to the way AI algorithms work, and to also adapt to how LLMs structure the information for the user. So this is the main idea behind that. Comparing to the traditional SEO, where the main focus is optimizing according to the keywords, but also collecting as many backlinks as possible. Yeah, this remains something that is important, but it's not just important in itself. It has to be included into something bigger. Something, you know, that takes into account the mentions, the brand mentions across all of the internet, all of the possible media outlets and so on. So the synergy between SEO and GEO, AIO, so this new AI optimization. So content strategy. Content is really, is still very important, but in the past it was because of the, as I said, the keyword, mainly because of the keyword optimization and the backlinks. So how the content could be considered authoritative enough. But now the content has to be obviously of good quality, but has to be structured in a way that it can be quotable by the LLMs, because the LLMs grab the information across several websites and actually provide it to the user in a way that is well structured. So the content has to take into account both the user intent on one hand, but also the way the AI LLMs actually work and structure the content itself. Then there are the technical foundations. So the technical SEO practices like focusing on crawlability, for example. This is still very important, but as I said, shifting to this new model. Trust authoritativeness is also very important, but it's different. It's switching from the number and quality of backlinks to actually all the brand mentions across all of the internet, and the way this brand, so the sentiment of these brand mentions. So yeah, we have to consider this optimization not just something that is related to the marketing itself, like as a unit within the company, but as a whole. And I would also like to add something more to that. It's not just having a comprehensive strategy that spans across the different units within a company, but also we have to start thinking in terms of this hybridization, I don't know how to say that, but between reality, analogic traditional reality and digital reality. And then authority building. So beyond backlinks, brands must leverage community engagement, because what is interesting, very interesting, and we will see that in action, is that these conversational browsers don't only take into account like traditional websites, but also social content coming from social media, mentions across other like YouTube, for example, or yeah, they take into account kind of everything. So it's not just about having, as I said, backlinks, but having a whole structure of citations across the different the web itself. So as I said, the importance of crawlability and the EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, to actually foster trust in the digital landscape. So that's why I said it's important, both the citations, but also the brand mentions, but also the sentiment of these brand mentions, these citations. So what is important is the data analysis, not just in terms of keyword analysis or backlinks, but also in terms of this more general citations and sentiment across the internet. So it can be important also, for example, to take into account also how our brand is mentioned on a forum, for example, on a big one. I read on a study that one of the, at least in the US, one of the most used content source is Quora. So yeah, or Reddit, for example. So we have to start thinking in terms of a wider landscape. Then the structured content. For clarity and accessibility for generative AI engines, and then a collaborative efforts between teams. And this, in my opinion, also means between the teams working on like branding on a analogic level. So for example, I give you an example. So I have an app, I manage an app. I don't have to just think of or a website. I don't just have to think about optimizing my content to be displayed on the internet, but maybe also an hybridation with, for example, like a campaign, like a campaign on a print newspaper could actually be of help to promote the content, so we don't have to rely only on search engine optimization or generative engine optimization, but also create a collaborative effort across all the teams and all the brand marketing communications teams. And then, as I said, authority beyond backlinks, the brand mentions. And the most important thing is to understand the user intent, because when a user does a search on using ChatGPT, is not just like running shoes, for example. Like that could be a keyword in the old times, old times meaning 2-3 years ago. But yeah, now it could be like, what is the best running shoes for my height, plus the fact that I train 2 times a week, and then I want to have like a, I don't know, with sensors and so on. So it's very, very, very specific, can be very specific. And these are some more technical principles. So token efficiency. So this is also related to how AI works. So LLMs work on with tokens for the structure of the query, the prompt, and the results. So I won't go too much into technical details. So if you want to, you can contact me, and then we can dive deeper into that. But actually, this is very, very important for the connection between the prompt, the user intent, the prompt, and the way the results are provided. Then the relevance, so context is very important. This is also a principle of prompt engineering. The context is very, very important to have a good result by the LLM, and this works also for the optimization of the content, and obviously always aligning with user intent and search behaviors. So contextual information is important. The canonical clarity, so not to duplicate content. This was also important in regular SEO. Still is important, but as I said, this is important to provide specific instructions to the LLM and to avoid the duplication of content, and so make the LLM confused. Then the schema markup. This is a structure to add context, but in a more technical way, to the pages, and to enhance the likelihood, as written here, of rich snippets in search results. So also like the snippets that we have in AI overview. So to increase the possibility that the content is broken down into chunks that can be digested by the LLM and then provided to the user. And then an ongoing proactive approach. So develop a proactive approach to content updates, regularly refreshing information. So yeah, this was also important in the past, but now it becomes even more important because the LLMs are quickly evolving, and also the information that they provide can evolve very quickly. And yeah, these are my contact information, as I said, if you want to get to know more about that. But now I would like to have a practical demonstration. So, okay. So today and yesterday, so over the last few days, we are having the Prime Minister of Hungary of Hungary here in Italy, Viktor Orban. So I wanted to, as this is a very, important and relevant news for the newspapers, for the publishers. So I wrote, can you make me a summary of Orban's visit in Italy? So a very simple question. So see, it's already switched from, in traditional search, I would have said, like for example, Orban's visit in Italy, or Orban's visits Italy. But here I wrote, can you make me a summary of Orban's visit? Because he met several people, he met Giorgia Meloni, he met lots of people. So this is what you see is the homepage with the summary. So this is the conversational part. So here you have the sources, like 3 sources. So the in the traditional search, we were used to have lists of several sources. Now we have only 3 here on the top. So I suppose there is a very big competition to get to this spot, to get into this spot. Then some pictures, and then the summary. Here, at the end of each paragraph, there are the sources, or at least the most important sources that ChatGPT thinks is the most important one. Then you have the sources at the end. You can click on that and have some links. But what was interesting to me is that here we have Radio Radicale, so it's one of the radios, national radios in Italy. So that's the first result, the first source, not result, the first source of this summary. If you go, you can also have these. You also have the search section. So you have the home conversational, then you have the search. And here you have several results. And Radio Radicale is in the 3rd position. But as we said earlier, the main source is from a YouTube channel. And then we also have Rai News in the 2nd position, while here in the home, it was in the 3rd position. Then I opened Google on ChatGPT Atlas, and I did a search. Orban's visit in Italy. So, or visit Orban in Italy. And actually, Radio Radicale is in 4th position, but we have Sky TG24, this other website I don't know, and this other website in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd position. Then I wanted to compare that with the results here. So Radio Radicale is, as I said, in 4th position. But if you actually open Google, like actual Google, then Radio Radicale can be in a different position. So can be, I opened it. It was in, I think it was in the 2nd page. Yes, I have it here. So Radio Radicale was in the 2nd page. I'll share my screen, just a second. Okay. So I wrote visit Orban, Italy, and this is Google search, traditional search, and this is the 2nd page, see, 2nd, and Radio Radicale is at the end of the 2nd page. And this seems to be quite consistent across other results, that the results provided in the AI conversational model, like a conversational browser, can come so that the first results, the first sources can be from very low positions into Google search. So this is But still, you can have like results in the first sources in the ChatGPT thing, coming from the first results into Google search. So this means that coming back to our question, is SEO really dead? No, SEO is hasn't died. So it's not dead. Is this a revolution? Kind of. It's a big evolution because it still matters to be well optimized in terms of SEO, but it also it's also very important to structure content and to implement what we saw earlier also from a technical perspective, apart from the content perspective, to actually being quoted by these LLMs, aligning that with the user intent. So maybe in the Radio Radicale article, the information was seen as much more consistent with the user intent. What I also found interesting is that no, this is Google. Okay, this one here, coming back to the sources at the end, we have, like in the third position, an article from a Spanish newspaper, El País, which wasn't available in the traditional Google search. So meaning that information coming from across the internet can be displayed and can be part of the result. Just as a conclusion, I want to also show you the same kind of search on Perplexity Comet. So this is the other conversational browser launched by Perplexity like a while ago, weeks ago. And again, within the sources, we have YouTube. Here we have Sky. And in the sources are different. So here we have Il Gazzettino. It's not one of the mainstream Italian publishers. And we have this Policymaker, never heard of that. Plenty of YouTube links. And then also a Facebook link coming from, Giorgia Meloni's page. So this was what we saw earlier into practice. If you have any questions or would like to connect with me, these are the details. No, we need to switch from there.
I have one question from the audience. Thank you. Thanks so far. I'm going to just read it to you. It's about relevance. If you want to embed relevance, are there already structured ways to check the specificity of a content for a certain target group with regards to the embeddings of specific models that you know of?
Well, let me see if I understood it correctly, but yes, there are some tools that you can use to check the relevance of your content for LLMs, according to the search intent, and to share or to also check the share of voice between your brand and the other brands, competitors. Yeah, there are some tools. Yes.
Cool. So it's learning in progress and putting those tools into practice, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions here, maybe? Francesco, of course. Yeah.
So one question around, let's say, technical SEO or GEO, as we can call it. So if there was one suggestion you would give to someone that is writing GEO, well, what would be the first step? Would it be a specific file to put in the root directory, the famous LLMs txt? Would it be trying to speak the language of a model? What would be one general advice you would give to someone?
Yeah, I would say the schema markup and the structure of the content. because yes, the LLMs are large language models. So obviously the one of the key thing is the language. So structure the content according to the way, but also according to the way they work. So it's important to understand the way the LLMs work. I couldn't do that because it could have been it could have become a little bit too technical. But yes, understand the way the LLMs work, which is a probabilistic rather than deterministic. So deterministic would mean like we write a program, like obviously it's not 100% like that, but it's we write a program that has to do for a specific condition something, while the probabilistic means that the LLM puts together the language according to the probability a certain word could go after another word. So to put it simple, yes. So I would say that schema markup, structure content, understand how LLMs work to write the content accordingly. Thank you.
Show you guys what he wasn't able to scan the Slido, and then the stage is yours, Francesco. One of the founders of Personas, welcome, and also one of the founders of PugliaTechs. So I'd say double applause for Francesco.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, I think it was muted. Hello, everyone. My name is Francesco de Lorenzi. I'm one of the builders of Persona. Today, we're going to talk about how to go from signals to personas. What do we mean with this? We're more and more filled with data. We're going from intuition-based based marketing. I think especially also when we were looking at SEO in the past, people were trying to, let's say, study algorithms, trying to fight them, ride them, and have an intuition with how to approach the market or tools or search engines. But now we're filled with data, probably a bit too much. So the challenge is to actually how to use this data and to connect to personas. So in the end, our audience are people, the people that we want to sell a product or service, but actually that we want to solve a problem of. So a data-driven future of marketing with AI will be today's talk. We'll be looking at a framework on how to approach it. So quick intro about who I am. Was thinking playfully hacking tech since I was around 12. So going from initially cybersecurity, developing antivirus tools. I'm a bit old, around 30s now. So at the time I was an early teenager. First of all, apart from being proudly community builder and vice president with PugliaTechs, the community that is co-hosting today's talk. I had experience around a decade in building software for small businesses and enterprises with my company. And at the time, I think it was fine to think we were doing also link building. And yes, link building was buying links on a homepage, putting maybe a link on the sidebar or posting an article with a short keyword. And if you bought a lot of links there, you would very likely ride the wave up to the first search engine page. So a lot has changed since then. It's fine to see how things evolve. So after that experience as running a business, I joined Jetty at the time, a marketplace automation platform that became Onport. We went through different stages and acquisition, etc., until we had an exit, and that allowed me to see the startup landscape from the ground up. And currently, working as a, CEO and founder of LeaderNova, leadership as a service company, and working with Vinted as a consultant. As far as ventures, we're building a portfolio of SaaS, and what we're going to talk about today is how we are approaching marketing intelligence with AI and through AI, through personas. But in reality, that's going to be how to approach through a framework that you can use every day, whether you're using a tool or you're building your own way of doing marketing with AI. So let's start from a bit of shock, which I think we somehow all have faced. So on LinkedIn, we're filled by people that are telling us to just comment whatever, people, peperino, or whichever keywords to get the magical prompts that will allow us to get the best copy or the best images or videos that will convert and get us the best sales. That's probably not what really drives real sales in today's world. So that's just a lot of hype. So when we realize that they don't work, then we need to rethink this approach to marketing and AI. And how do we do this? We start by analyzing where's the failure there. So sometimes we look at buyer personas as a mix of demographics, so details around potentially the age, the gender of the buyer persona, and details even very specific about the region and city, but that doesn't identify a buyer persona. That's just demographics. There's a lot more to that. And it all boils down to the motivations, the intent. So what's really the pain point? What are the needs that a specific person, before looking at persona, has? And where do we find these people? Where are the channels that they are using the most? Where do we find them? And when we're looking at data, so data-driven marketing, we have a lot of data, but how can we correlate it? If we look at siluses, in the sense that we have data related to reviews, our own reviews, competitor reviews, or sales data about past history, is it relevant? How do we put it all together? If you separate them as siluses, we're very likely going to look at wrong signals. And on the creative side, if we look at creative as an outcome, we're probably looking at the wrong point. So the outcome shouldn't be a creative that works, but the outcome should be the conversion, or potentially a client that stays as a client and doesn't churn or leave a bad review. So to do this, we need to focus on the audience before looking at building the output. So we've surveyed hundreds of businesses and brands while building personas, and we're trying to see what differentiates the use of AI that works with what doesn't work. Have you seen that it all starts with the DNA of the brand? So with a brand as an entity that speaks to the world with its own identity, that DNA should be a mix of the voice of the brand, its values, its proof, and mold the personas around their psychology, their level of awareness, how much aware are they of the problem. So that's, we start with looking at their needs, and then how to speak to those needs before we actually create those creative assets. And then that's never ending, in the sense that we want to make sure we close the loop with always learning from the outcomes of our campaigns, with signals that we put back into the flywheel, back into our processes, in a way that then we can have better and better performing campaigns. So again, linking back to what we were saying before, so there's a lot of attention to find the best prompt builder. There's the best attention of finding the best end-to-end automation with the best prompt. Is it JSON or YAML, or what's the best way to prompt? But is that actually what really makes a difference? Maybe we should be focusing on shipping better campaigns, more campaigns, performing better A/B testing, versus focusing too much on the prompting side, on the perfection there. Because in the end, it's not about the prompt, it's about how we connect the data with the AI pipelines, or with the prompt, if we want to simplify the concept. So when we analyzed our beta testers, our brands that we interacted as we were building personas, we've noticed that what actually worked wasn't a clever prompt. So a simple smoke test is if you look at your pipelines or your magic prompts and they work both with and without the data, you don't have anything that is defensible. You don't have something that is really magical, or it's your moat. It's probably a toy because it always works, or maybe it never works. So the solution is using your own data. And what we're going to talk about today is how to build a framework in our way of doing marketing that turns data into assets. So the pipeline looks at your data first, building pipelines and agents, and then that will ensure that you can build on-brand assets that speak the language of your brands. So we've built a data-driven framework, so how businesses can approach data-driven framework in their way of implementing AI, and it starts with the brand DNA. So analyzing data, we're going to see what kind of data that will help pipeline, not just a particular model, a pipeline, to have the context and information about how the brand communicates. So what's his voice? How does it communicate? Is that voice consistent between the different channels? And what are the values that potential buyer persona can embody, can meet when reading about a particular brand? What's the positioning? What are the proof points? What's the language? So only from that point, when we have identified the brand information, we can then mix it with the buyer personas. And again, analyzing the psychological side, apart from the demographic side of buyer persona, so that we can then find the right personas. In some cases, we'll find out that the personas are common across the entire brand because they're core personas. In other cases, they might be very specific to a service or a product. So based on this approach, we're able to identify what are their real motivations, what are their barriers, what are their potential objections, and also what's the level of awareness. In that sense, we're going to have to speak in a different way depending on the awareness level. And where do we find, naturally, organically, these buyer personas on a daily basis in a way that we can then speak to them and take them into our funnel? So if we consider brand DNA and then the number of personas and the number of angles, we're going to have the ideal set of creative assets that will be, first of all, starting from the angle of the campaign or of the ad set, then multiplied by the types of creatives that we'll be creating. So whether that's copy, or whether that's images that will be AI generated or videos, but it all starts by identifying who is the brand, how it communicates, what's its DNA, and then identifying what is the right buyer persona for that product or service. So just looking at how persona looks like, of course, our team has been a bit creative with the brand. The type of data that we think is important to acquire to create a brand DNA, it starts from information about the brand and an understanding of what the brand is, what's its description, in the sense what is its mission, what's its social presence, how does it communicate across the different channels, what are the fonts and colors that are used by the brand and why, what's the reason behind that, what's the pulse of the brand, how does it interact with the world versus how does the world interact with it on each of the channels, what's the competitor landscape, and then there's something that's a secret sauce of the business, which will be some information that the brand will put into the pipeline. So it may be a brand guide, it may be a retrospective of a campaign that worked pretty well or it didn't work pretty well. So a mix of this set of brand DNA will be part of the basis of the information that an AI pipeline should be using. And again, it boils down to capturing the right signal. We usually want to look at signals into two silos. One is first party. In this case, we look at data that can derive from connection with platforms that are used by brands. So on-site behaviors, search terms, purchase history, what kind of cohorts have been identified in the sales data sets. How are support tickets related to objections or to feedback that users may be having? And are there any CRM notes when a sale is close won or close lost? What is the takeaway from that? And in the end, how are UGCs speaking? What's their language? Which UGC campaigns are working the best? So this set of first-party data is relevant to create a DNA that speaks the language of the brand and that does communicate to the AI pipeline what the brand's life is. But on the other side, that doesn't complete the picture. On the other side, we need to look at third-party data that feeds the full ecosystem in which the brand lives. So it starts from what kind of comments there are in the different platforms related to the brand or to the products that the brand is selling, or what is the historical ads library of that brand, which have been the best performing campaigns that we can derive from the ads library historically, so looking at historical data. And we were talking about, interesting, we're seeing more and more LLMs that have also bought licenses from those public forums because they've seen that it's really crucial to have that data, and that's what we think it's important for all of us. So having access to public reviews and forums where people speak about the brands and the products. Okay. In addition to that, also having access to the market data and the trend data related to the products and brands, but also to the competitor landscape. This set of data will be crucial for AI pipelines to have the right information, the right context to build winning campaigns. And when it comes to how to save the data, we've noticed that one of the most common mistakes is the early summarization. So the suggestion that I have, whether you're building your pipelines or building your internal tools, is don't rush through early summarization. So when you're acquiring this data from your own data sets or external, don't rush to try and summarize it. Don't provide AI with dashboards, because you're losing a lot of context, a lot of information that should be fed in a very relevant way and retrieved by AI pipelines when needed, versus having to provide pre-digested data that will be probably hard to pull at a later stage. So if there's one suggestion, is avoiding early summarization, especially when you're building pipelines. So when we look again at the buyer persona is buyer persona metadata or buyer persona DNA. It stems from a set of needs, job to be done. What are the barriers that the persona identifies? What are, again, their motivations and objections, but ideally in the own language of the buyer persona, as there may be also cultural biases in the way the buyer persona speaks. What's the awareness stage from, we're going to see an example, from the most unaware to the most aware, and that will change their psychology. And in the end, like as we said, where do we find them and what kind of content they digest better when using those channels? And that's very important because it's going to allow the AI pipeline or the software being used to align the brand voice across sets to make sure that the angles that are built for a given campaign, they actually connect with the level of awareness, so that the angle will be very, very specific. And then this will, in the end, allow for a better production of content, more thoughtful A/B testing, and at the end, that will give better results. So this is how we see a set of buyer personas being generated, and we have been backed by the signals, as we saw before. And again, it's an important reminder on how assets, in our opinion, should be created, and it starts again from a need to an asset. So not aiming at the output, but starting from what's the need. The need would be, I want durable basics without greenwashing. So I'm looking for green products, but I want to be sure that I'm not being sold something green just because someone is good at selling. So if I don't want this greenwashing, I will want some specific reassurances from the brand that the brand has a supply chain that is completely green, that the brand has specific certifications that prove that the business is approaching with sustainability. So this specific need will need to turn into an angle that resonates to the user's need and the high level of awareness of them being environmentally friendly. So this only will take us to creating copy, images, video scripts, UGC in a way that it speaks back to the original needs and the awareness level. So what we recommend when building a framework or internal process is to approach the creation of assets in this way, creating internal logs to trace the success, A/B testing across the different angles for each persona, varying across the different awareness stage. Some may not be as aware as we identified, and seeing what works the best and continuing that loop of improvement. In personas, how does it work? So the user is able to enter a URL. So URL will inform the pipeline about the information about the brand, the relevant content, the page itself, so that it will pursue that on-brand persona creation, starting from the pain, whether it's the benefit, building the angle, and in the end, making sure it speaks the word of the brand. And the point is to make it as fast as possible, so that if there's a large catalog, it will be possible to run campaigns and get ad sets in ideally around 10 minutes. From a UI perspective, that's how you are able to do this in a either express mode or custom mode. But here we're not looking at promoting the software, so just looking at what a good pipeline could look like to create ad set from a URL, choosing the personas, picking what kind of outputs you would like, and that will resort to having the outputs generated from your pipeline. This is an example. So a store's product would result into a creative asset that it could be ready to be published on different platforms. An important point is, again, closing the loop. So data-driven marketing stems from being able to feed all the learnings back into your pipeline or into your process. And that starts again from looking, first of all, at what your hypotheses would be, how you would approach a campaign, running the campaign, then logging the outcomes. Ideally, if you are able to connect platforms where you run campaigns back into your marketing intelligence tool, you'll be able to then automatically feed the outcomes, potentially the conversion rates or different stages of a funnel, and understanding what kind of particular variants of your campaigns has been the most successful, and learning why, to the point that then this information can come back into your pipeline and use it as a basis for your next campaign. So very important, closing the loop, making sure that you're feeding this data back, and you can continue having better performing campaigns. So the point of this talk was to give you achievable checklist that you can embed in your daily activity as a marketer with AI. Definitely not AI marketer, so AI as a tool. So what we recommend is starting with your brand DNA one-pager. So what we saw that AI has done, as you're working with your brand or your client's brand, it's important that you practice your own knowledge of the brand and its DNA by yourself. So we're looking at the voice, the proof, the claims, and then identifying what are the best signals. So how can you pick the right sets of data that would then provide you, or which AI you're using, to then create the right content. So, and even in this case, don't rush to summarize, store the data as you might need it later. At this point, draft those buyer personas, understanding what's their awareness stage, doing the same approach, mapping the needs, building the angles, and then creating the assets for each persona. And then define how often would you want to experiment with this set of data that you put in your process, and how you will want to have more A/B testing, more diverse campaigns in your experimentation. So this set of approaches will allow you to move signals into personas. So try to differentiate from too much data, too many signals that can actually confuse a pipeline, or can confuse you if you're still doing it manually, to actually having resonance. So consistent data-driven campaigns that are science-backed around how to approach AI-driven or AI-based marketing. And the main point is to be able to speak naturally the language of your audience through the approach of demographics, psychographics of the brand in a way that their needs are listened. The voice speaks that of your audience, and it's very, very likely that their pain points, their job to be done, will meet with your offer, and this will very likely lead to a better conversion. So if you're interested in hearing more about personas, or you'd like to share your feedback, we welcome you into our next beta phase starting November 15th. So you can see this in real life and let us know your feedback. Thanks for your time.
We are running out of time, Francesco, so I'm gonna go over to the next speaker. I'm sure there's gonna be time for questions during the aperitivo, right? So, last but not least, oh, there I go. Sorry, guys. All the way from Modena. A small applause, please, already. From Instilla. The stage is yours. I'm going to give you my mic.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Actually, I'm living in Modena, but Instilla is in Milan, so I'm traveling back and forth every day. And about me, I'm Alessio. I'm the chairman of Instilla. And what we do in Instilla is digital consulting, digital strategies, and also technical. In the last years or so, we developed a specific unit based on product. Thanks to the superpower given by AI, we started developing very fast new product just to enhance a little bit faster some capabilities in our competency unit. So today, what I'm going to talking about is the new AI overview. Disruption inside. And I want to start with this chart that is pretty, clear, showing us the impact that the AI overview had, on the informational website. So the impact of the ChatGPT leadership when came. Was pretty strong on driving traffic, increasing traffic on the informational platform. Thanks also on what Fabio shown us before, but with since the last couple of months, when Google starting to test the new AI mode and also the AI overview on the search engine, we can see how Google was able to disrupt the traffic to the news website. And that's pretty clear, the direction that the news and the website based on informational news, are facing. And based on a recent study conducted by HRFs, it's a very technical website and tools in the SEO. They shown us how transactional keywords are really impacted by the AI overview. They are going to estimate the 35% of drop-off in terms of traffic from the websites. And, we are talking about billions of, views and also money that are dropping off of our website. Think about, all the websites we are used to see every day. We are losing traffic for, basically the new AI review released by Google. But why? Just because, the traditional research is dying, and also the traditional KPIs are not working anymore. So we are trying to understand which are the new KPIs to, record, because ranking was equal to, sometimes, mostly, was equal to revenues, like content was equal to, keyword density inside our content. And also more pages means more traffic, but everything is going to change. Everything is changing. Because also, as Fabio said before, lucky boy, there's a clear transition from deterministic to probabilistic. Why? Because Google was used to list a bunch of websites in the first page, from the first to the 10 result. Pretty clear, based on the clear topic was the most relevant for the Google algorithm. Now we have a bigger expansion of given by the LLM. We have an expansion of result thanks to the reasoning change created by the LLM on the Google engine. And so after that, we have many different variable options because the output might change based on our user behavior, because Google knows a lot of stuff about us. Google knows, our behavior, and also it's able to personalize the answer based on this information that is basically it has collecting in the last 20 years on our search, on our behavior, in our way to live. And how does our overview works? 3 main steps. The first one is based on it is behind the single search term, because Google is able to understand what is behind the search term and expand by himself the first search. Second, is able to extract the relevant content in our search term. And third, is able to synthesize everything in one single piece of content based, as I said before, on our behavior. So this technique is patented by Google and is named query find out technique. That is, patented and clear how Google is able to, collect information from the result page, also from the 75th page result. And this is because it's looking for relevancy, is not for just content and how much the content is trustworthy. The SEO manager behind the content was able to put, on the first page the results, but is more looking for relevancy inside the content behind every single query. So to be more specific, to dive in a little bit in the query fan out techniques. So the first step is the fan out distribution. So when we start a query, when we launch a query, Google is able to create many different subqueries, synthetic subqueries related to our main topic. And after that, is able to aggregate all the content collected in the 100 tons of results he had in his list, and also is able to rank and fusion all this content together. But to go a little bit deeper, the first steps is the chunking logic. So Google extract new synthetic content, new synthetic query for the first main query, and is able to create for just one single question, where to eat Bari, in Bari good fish, is able to understand and to create many different queries based in the first one. After that, he's going to create, the fan out. So he's launching many different research in the main topic he has created before, trying to understanding, the relevancy of, inside the maps, and also the freshness, starting to look for, the sentiment around the restaurant in town, starting to look about, how to synthesize all the narrative he had collected. And after that, with the Gemini orchestrator, he's going to create, one single piece of content based on the research he has done before. After that, he's going to create, thanks to the reasoning model, one single piece of content removing, noises, duplicated, trying to create a single piece of content, crystal clear and full of consistency. And last, but more important, the personalization. Thanks to the embeddings, thanks to the information that Google has about how it's going to create just a single piece of content based on our behavior. So for me, the answer, where to eat in Bari good fish, is try Trattoria del Mare, just because he understood that might be the best place for me, based on my behavior. But it might be different for, everybody. And just to have a little recap on how query found out is working. First step, we have the chunking. So we have the synthetic reasoning behind the first query. Google is creating many different query, synthetic query. The fan out, so the distribution of this query, so it starts doing many different research around our, needs, and it's gonna fuse all the different content you have, found out, merging everything in our single crystal clear piece of content, mixing everything with the user embedding. So a big work in a second, thanks to, our behavior and the capacity to put content all together just to give us the best experience has ever lived. And why and how we are facing this challenge? We have created our single tool named Rank Simulator that is able to parse these different web pages, extracting from the different web pages the relevant content. Based on the relevant content, we are going to create many different synthetic queries on the way to understand in which query we are more relevant, based on our target, of course. And after this chunking, basically, we are going to give many different insights in which direction you have to, upgrade your content, how much more relevant you have to, create your, how much more information you have to put inside your content, and also creating a sort of, evaluation of your content based on the many different synthetic query Google is going to create. On that way, we are, able to understand in which direction optimize the content and basically reconstruct all the content page. And also, one of the tools we have built with the Rank Simulator tool is the enterprise knowledge graph. One of the technique that we saw that the LLM loves is have more context around our topic. So with the enterprise knowledge graph, we basically are able to create a synthetic context. It is basically a markup file that we want to put inside the main pages, giving more and more content about our product and our services. Doing by that, the LLM is able to understand which is our target, which is the specific target we have to talk about, and many different variables around the product. And doing by that, we are able to understand also in which direction LLM is evolving and in which direction over-optimize our content. So what we can do to be more relevant and also to optimize our content in this direction to be more relevant for the AI overview. First of all, we have to basically redesign the way we are submitting the content in our web pages. Now the content are more confusing with a lot of information. If you're looking for, how to recharge your if you were looking for the information on how to recharge your phone, you know, Salvatore Ranzula starting talking about how the mother of Jobs, you know, when the mother of Jobs met the first time his father, but now is not more relevant as information. You have to understand how you want to charge your phone. So you have to be crystal clear, and you have also to have the perfect good readability. So chunk of text, super clear and straight to the point. And also, if you have the ability to put some data inside your content, it be more insightful and also more helpful to the LLM to understand your relevancy around the main topic. And also work for, you know, becoming more relevant around the topic. You have to create your own authority. So internal linking, link building direct to domain content, and also distribute, as also Fabio said before, your content between across multiple platforms, just to you know, create more relevancies and distribute your content in many different formats. So helping, you know, Google to find out your main topic across many different platforms. These are, you know, the main pillar we have, and we understood basically in the last couple of months since Google released the AI overview. We are still experimenting many different approach, but you know what we basically understood that we are facing really a disruption. We have to understand how to approach the disruption, and also we have to understand how make money in front of the disruption in a new way, because everything is going to change. So we have basically to see from another point of view our job and the way we are going to distribute content, because it's not anymore important the amount of content we are going to distribute, but is really what really matter is the relevancy that is behind our content and the way we are demonstrating to the LLM, the way we are able and trustworthiness in front of our content and the information. I've been quick, so thank you.
Very quick. Thank you for that. You were perfectly in time.
No, you said we are running late, so...
Yeah, well done. And BurdaForward, there we go. Any questions here from the audience? Yeah? Antonio? No. Okay. Francesco?
So as a technical person, I always resort to a semi-technical question. So from a geo perspective, and also generally SEO, how do you see this rush through vibe tools like Lovable that are being used also for news websites, content websites, not only for apps that should be probably no index, no follow? How are you seeing this rush with crawlability, indexability? Have you seen any trends? Is it a big risk for those who want to be on the spotlight of AI modes, AI overview, and maybe resort to those tools that are originally for apps? And so what has been your experience with this new trend of builders?
Yeah. So now we have plenty of builders. So we have Lovable, Replit, and blah, blah, blah. Really. And also we have the builder, the workflow builder. That's another kind of builder, just not, we may say less technical in terms of coding, but more technical in terms of scalability, because they are giving superpower to everybody, basically. What we can see, it's really, you know, a plenty of new tools that are flourish every day, from content to comment to engagement, everything. But they are not really relevant. Especially in this moment, there's a lot of startups that are raising, you know, beautiful marketing activities, but you know the product is really poor. And now, thanks to this builder, thanks to the code easily, we have to work on relevancy. So before we were spending months on developing tool, a meaningful tool. Now as well, we have to spend months on build something really more complex and something really more articulated, because everybody might create, a specific tool to solve a little teeny piece of the web content or of the web marketing of whatever. So when we have to look a new way to create a new point of view, a new way to see how to disrupt a little bit of piece of market or a more wider, marketing activities or whatever, also, backend processes. We have to try to understand how to be relevant in a better way to give the better result, not just to create some, wow moment, because the wow moment now are, really easy to create, but relevancy, it's gonna be really hard.
Okay, thank you. I also have a question. I was wondering what you see, how do you see different customers react to this disruption, and how do you deal with that?
From Instilla point of view, the difficult part here is, is try to, contaminate the client, because it's very difficult to let them to understand the disruption we are facing, especially in Italy. Italy is not totally digitalized, okay? Companies in Italy are not totally connected in their system, in their backend. So we have, facing everyday company that still don't have a CRM, okay? And here we are talking about AI, disruption, velocity, and blah, blah, blah. But still we have a lot of, foundation job to do. And first of all, the first approach is contaminating client and try to create, try to, distribute information, try to, give more speech, try to, give more content to them in order to let them to understand in which direction the business is going, because they are losing money, basically. We have different clients that are business based on content, and it's really challenging for them. you know what I mean? And that's it. So first of all, help them to understand the changement.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions? Are we all thirsty and looking forward to aperitivo? I think we are. We have a beautiful behind this wall where the aperitivo is set, so we can all go for focaccia and drinks and questions to Francesco where we didn't have time for anymore. Thank you, Alessio. Thank you all.